Welcome to episode 107 of The Endless Stream. I'm Aidan, and this week I am joined by Brian, and Kevin returns. We are three artists, illustrators, filmmakers, and all-round shit-talkers, and each week we take some of the endless stream of content brought to you through Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, YouTube, Spotify, Disney+. Wherever you get your content, we take a chunk of it, we watch it, and we talk about it. This week we are talking about Florida Man. We'll talk a little bit about Forged in Fire, I think. We talk about all the upcoming Marvel stuff. We watch The Mandalorian as usual. We're just delighted to have Kevin back. He's telling us about his house, his new dog, all the stuff that's been going on for him, me and Brian over the last week. So, if you like what you hear, please consider subscribing to the podcast, heading over to iTunes and Spotify. Like and subscribe, rate and review, all those good things really help us out. You can head over to Instagram at The Endless Cast, where we put up art to go with each episode, and that's a great place to comment, send us any messages, disagree with our opinions, suggest things for us to watch. You can do that there, or you can send us an email at theendlesscast@gmail.com. All of that being said, let's get into the episode. Hey Kevin, you're back on the podcast. It's been a few weeks.
Yeah, St. Patrick's Day was my last episode.
Look who came crawling
I'm
back.
Yeah.
There's a couple of ways to
What
take
did you bring
that,
us?
right?
Low expectations.
To bring us some souvenirs.
It looks like you're in a new location.
I'm in a new location, live from New York City.
State of the art recording facility.
Which is my new, less sexy, white and black kitchen. Oops.
That's
Well,
sexy.
my original kitchen had been... I moved into my house officially on St. Patrick's Day, and we've been living here since then. Officially handed in the keys to my old apartment on the 1st. So, you know, we've been living here over a month now, properly. So we're settling in nicely. And the first port of call had to be to repaint our kitchen, which was painted...
You're saying the kitchen was too sexy first.
The kitchen was too sexy for me. It was definitely hard to concentrate while I cooked.
Felt like you were inside something.
Yeah,
easy at a moment.
yeah. And then like drinking milk made me feel weird, even if it's oat milk. Yeah,
Right.
No,
It did look like you were inside an eyelid.
I'd be pouring milk into my glass, and it would just fall onto my finger. Like, oh.
I'm not
But yes, my sex kitchen is less sexy now. It's more healthy. I can breathe in it. My kitchen has a larger mirror from wall to wall. I don't know why.
to create the illusion of space.
I know it's to create the illusion of space, but when you paint it from ceiling to floor red, you kind of create a very claustrophobic environment.
Less space.
Yeah. Oh, the place looks, even watching you there, like on the screen here, that space looks so much more open and airy, and, you know, basic BBC changing rooms bitch terminology.
Yes, but you're right, it does. So yeah, that I took 2 weeks off work at the beginning of April, and most of that was kind of just house stuff and settling in. Which was really good. Kind of basically, because we were doing our kitchen up, we had a lot of brunches around the area, which was brilliant.
Oh, very nice. So you're getting to know the locale.
Yeah. If anybody's listening, Riggers Cafe, Dublin 8, the Croc. Get it. Do yourself a favour and get it. Bechamel mustard sauce. It's banging.
Have you found, like, I guess you wouldn't want to be specific about where precisely you're living, but I guess, is there any amenities that you're like, oh, I found a lovely park, or
we're surrounded by,
like this walk is nice.
I live in the old Inchicore Kilmainham area, suffice to say. I like my neighbourhood. It's cool and it's safe. Cool. But I already lived in Kilmainham before this, so I was well versed with the area.
You already know all. It's
just kind of having 2 weeks off and focus on the house, and then kind of just going out and about in the area more, and on another side of where I lived. You know, it's just been a good experience. It's been fun.
That's great.
Yep. And then to tie things off, we adopted a pupper. Well, not a puppy.
You got a dog?
We got a dog.
Got a dog.
Yes, we got a
What's your name?
Her name is Bjug. She's our wee Bjug.
Björk
Björk
McNamara.
McNamara Bouchel Pin. No, maybe I shouldn't say everybody's surname. No.
You're out.
Mara would be a good name.
Marrow.
Mara McNamara.
Mara. Oh, Mara would be.
No, just
Mara
Mara.
would-
Although it does
Marla.
sound like
Yeah,
Marla.
Marla. McNamara.
Mara Björk.
Mara Björk. Yeah, so we have, well, she's a whippet cross, and she looks like a little kind of wolfhound, but she's not. She's tiny. She's 2 years old. Her back probably would be up to above my knee, I'd say, but she's a slight little cute little thing, and
And she looks just as just as shaggy as you.
yes, I've gotten that from a few people. Yeah,
You've done that like dog looks like their owner
but
thing.
I've heard that from a few people now. She's dark and scruffy, and she has beautiful brown eyes, like myself. No, I don't have brown eyes.
Bearded
I
lady.
don't know what colour my eyes are, but I am looking incredibly scruffy today. But whatever.
Have you gone to Brickfield Park yet?
No.
That's another one near you. It's good. It's worth checking out.
Okay,
It's
I
good.
will check it out. I've not been there. But yeah, so we got Björk. We got it. We picked her up on Wednesday from an animal welfare centre in Wicklow. The guys were really, really fantastic. They've had her for about 3 or 4 weeks. They rescued her from a halting site. Can I say that?
Yeah, halting site's the correct term.
I don't want to kind of generalize or
No, I think that's all right. That we're mistreating her. You said.
Okay, so they rescued her from a halting site. She probably has never been indoors. She doesn't technically have a name. She doesn't know any, rules or commands, or she's not toilet trained or anything like that at all. She's a completely clean slate in a sense of she's a wild little girl, but she's great. She's the best.
Get a clicker as well.
I can get a clicker, yeah.
Teaching her stuff. Teaching her name.
She's glued to us now. In all fairness, she is glued to us. If one of us leaves, she'll panic for a while, and then whoever's left with her, she'll follow you around everywhere. Yeah.
Aww.
Yep. So yeah, but she's settling great. They have us like on a quote unquote like 7-day trial thing, but like good luck trying to get her back. She's ours forever. Yeah, we're mad about her. We really are. She's great.
She's home now.
She's home.
That's great.
Yeah, get.
I'm just traveling the world.
Oh. Rude.
I'm just associating with other people's pets.
You're just you're trying to say that my life is mundane, that you're off traveling the world living
No.
rude. Brian, I think that's kind of offensive. I am offended. Oh, I'm just traveling the world, no big deal.
No, I'm just traveling I'm okay. I am just out there wandering the world.
Okay, rubbing it
associating with other people's pets like a hoe.
You're traveling the world acting like a hoe. So you're also rubbing in the fact that I'm settled in a relationship. Why? I'm not insecure about that.
So I met Chris's cat. It's a lovely
His name
cat.
is Ho.
This is called Dove. We're getting another cat into the house as well. There's another Irish person here called Saoirse. She's got 2 Maine Coons, which are huge and amazing. I went to pick up that cat when I was over there, and I picked the cat up under the front legs, as I generally do. But it's the first time I stood up and the cat was still on the ground, and I had to go back down, and I had to pick the same cat up twice. Basically, is what I'm getting at. It is a long animal.
Slinky.
Yeah,
We
it was
have Maine
crazy.
Coons in Ireland, right?
You can get them.
Yep.
They're a Scandinavian.
I don't
is it-
know. Like,
Am I thinking of another
I must ask
breed.
about Emer's.
Norway? I think,
Amazing.
right?
I always thought the main part was Maine.
Yeah, I know, but I also think I looked that up recently as well, because it does seem like it's...
No, it's not. Interesting. That seems deliberately confusing.
Marla looks quite happy up in that couch with your brain.
Oh, nope, I'm completely wrong. So there's a Norwegian breed. Maybe that's where I'm mixing things up. Norwegian forest cat, that's what it is. It's literally
I can
that.
see how you mix up Norwegian and Maine.
Well, it's just the idea that they're the two of the biggest breeds. So I've linked the two together.
I know.
And
I know.
I went to there's a place called Red Line VR here, which is a bar, but I think I said this last week. It's got these VR booths around it, so people like show up and like they're drinking and they're playing VR in like these areas. Like it's a driving range is the best analogy I have for anybody that's ever been to a driving range. But it's just got a couple of just theater cats wandering around as well. And I learned that one of their names is Pimento. And they gave me a little laser pointer and I got to point it around and it would chase it around the whole area. And I didn't lead it into the path of people wearing VR helmets, but it is tempting to point that laser
Jesus
at them.
Christ.
And injure the cat. That's really nice. That's really nice.
The cat would have been
Endangering
fine.
cats.
I didn't. I said I didn't.
Endangering
I said I
animals.
didn't.
He's a good person. He loves cats. Aiden's whole identity is feline. You are looking more feline every time I see it, though.
It's what?
That's because he's having that cat surgery. I
He
keep
is
telling
getting
you.
bits of work done for sure.
He keeps having that cosmetic surgery to make himself look like a cat. He's never denied it.
I mean, I'm
Never denied it.
Yes, I am a cat man.
You can just tell us. Just tell us.
I'm trying to have a tail surgically attached.
Oh, that's
It's not going well.
jeez, that's brutal. It's not
No.
latching on.
You can just get a butt plug for that.
No, a very important part of cat identity is a visible anus, and I can't plug that, so I need to have the cat mounted above.
That's fair.
That's very true.
That's
I need to have the tail
That's
mounted
very
above. Did I say that?
yes, but no, that's true. Aiden, you're right. Yeah, that's bizarre, isn't it?
Brian is showing us his Lego tiger with visible anus. Is it Lego?
Visible. It's Lego, yeah.
But like,
It's Lego.
why did they do that?
It's in the instructions.
Why did they do that?
I'm so
For
happy they
anybody
did it.
That's listening. Basically, Brian does have a
And the
Lego
thing is-
tiger that kind of accurate.
I think I just found out the cover for next week's episode.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that like this bit came with the set. Right? So that piece there is a flower, as you can
Right.
see, and the same piece then is used for the
So
butthole.
it's
And,
a
I love
little flower.
it's
The body's
It's a
flower.
flower and a butthole.
That's just how. That's the great thing about Lego. You can be really creative with it. Brilliant.
I just love the fact that it's an
It's
official
in the
thing
instructions.
in the manual, in the
Like,
instructions.
They have a
it's
butthole
like,
piece.
and this bit
Yeah.
goes here. Yeah. I literally looked at it and I was like, is that a butthole?
I was shocked.
Oh my God, it's a
I've said
butthole.
that to people.
And then I was like,
Is that why you
I
bought
was
it?
so happy. No, I mean I didn't know until I was, halfway
How is that
through
not talked
assembling
about
it.
more?
I love it.
Breaking
I think it's
news. Ukraine, Syria, the United States, but more
Lego.
importantly, our top story tonight. Lego has started including buttholes.
Lego has officially designated a piece of Lego for buttholes. It's a butthole piece. You have a two-piece thingy, and you have a butthole.
Bung piece.
Beehole piece.
Yeah.
Beehole.
Bunghole.
Did you watch anything in the 2-3 weeks that we haven't seen, you Kev? See any films?
I didn't watch a lot, really.
See any Netflix series? Some Hulu
I've started
exclusives?
watching. I've watched the first 3 episodes, I think it is, or first 2 anyways, but definitely, I think first 3 episodes of, first 2 episodes of Barry. Season 4. Yeah, and it's
4 or
very
3?
good. Season 4.
4?
Season 4, it's very good.
I've heard very mixed things about it. It's weird. Seems like people are on a downer on it for some reason.
Oh, I like it. I think it's
weird.
really. I think
it's
it's really.
interesting.
Have you watched any of it, Brian?
No, not yet. Not yet.
You holding off?
Yeah.
You holding off till it's all aired, is it?
Yeah, I think.
I mean, saying that I might go watch it after this.
do
but,
people-
I just haven't really.
Are people's critiques of it like that is too maybe artistic or something, or a bit too stylized or something?
No, I think
it's
they're
brilliant.
kind of. I think they're kind of saying that it's lost a bit of the balance and the humor, and it's kind of all dour at the moment.
At the moment,
And that it's kind of lost. Like the best thing about it was that how it was able to walk that line, and was kind of surprising. Whereas now I think it just feels a bit more predictable. It feels less original, less creative, and then kind of dark without any of the humor. And I think it maybe like they've all kind of said that it seems deliberate, in that there's always been a question about, like, whether Barry is or is not a good person, and this seems to be saying, like, no, he's bad, and this is just how bad stories end for bad people.
yeah, I like it. Anyways,
But again, I don't think they've even seen the series or the season of full yet. This is just their kind of initial reaction to the first few episodes, I think. But it's kind of interesting that it's all happening around the same time as he's gone very public with his relationship with Ali Wong, and it's just, I kind of feel sometimes like that the more public an entity becomes, the easier it is for people to sort of project their personal opinion of you onto their critical, or their reaction to the stuff you make.
So is I didn't realize he is seeing Ali Wong.
Yeah, it was just kind of rumored for a while, but it's only just gone like public and officially confirmed. And this is just me kind of drawing a line between two things, but it's kind of interesting that as he becomes this more celebrity kind of photo out in public with another famous person, that also the reaction to the things he's made is more critical. It's interesting because he's directed, I think, every episode of this season as well.
Right.
Whereas previously was Hiro Murai. He didn't direct every episode, but he directed, like, as in Hiro Murai directed most of the episodes in previous seasons. So, whereas he's kind of taking more ownership then of this season, and he's a less experienced director. So
yeah,
it could be
Hiro
kind of
had a very
conflation of
distinct.
Hiro's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
And then
sorry, go ahead.
they're coming under fire for some comments David Cho made years ago, kind of resurfaced, and he's in beef, and Ali Wong and Stephen Young are coming under fire because it's like they're not being critical enough for some people of Cho's past comments, and it's like, are they aware? Do they care? Is it fair to drag them into it? And it's just it's a mess.
I haven't seen those comments, and I don't want to include them in the episode, but can you tell me what they are?
He
Just so I
told a
have
story
context.
that he later claimed he was doing a bit, and it's about a sexual assault, and he seems to be kind of bragging about it. And I don't know, was he kind of doing it in a Bobby Lee type of way, or is it just really callous and but he's attempted to have it pulled off the internet a couple of times, but he always struck me as a very weird guy as well, though. I never really got what his deal was. Most of the clips I saw of him seemed to be him kind of like espousing some sort of philosophy as if he was, I don't know, he's a strange guy anyway, I think. So
It's Bobby Cho, is it?
David Cho.
David Cho. Oh, because you said Bobby Lee, that confused me.
Yeah.
So I'm just,
And he's good in
sorry,
Beef.
I'm just
Beef
reminding
is great.
myself. He's okay.
Have
he's
you
the
watched
artist,
Beef?
is he?
Anybody yet?
I watched a couple episodes.
He's
and I
the
liked
artist. He's the guy
Sorry.
who
He did a mural for Facebook and got stuck.
he did a mural for Facebook and got stuck. Yeah,
I remember him now. Yeah, he was an oddball, and he is a sort of Bobby Lee,
yeah,
sort of
yeah,
running buddy.
edgy.
So he's got that vibe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Suddenly
I think you
I
can
have
leave
more
all that in.
context. Yeah. I guess I was getting. I didn't think that David Cho was an actor, so I didn't. I have to watch it. This has brought us on from This has brought us on from
Barry
Barry
to
to beef, right?
But beef is great. And
Okay.
there's the other connection there being that Ali Wong is the main in beef and Hader's the main in Barry. And there's your 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon right there.
So we went to Barry to beef to bacon.
Barry to beef bacon. Barry beef bacon. Triple B's. Kev, you've watched some of Beef?
I watched
All of
2 or 3 episodes of it. I like it. Don't get me wrong. I have liked it. It's just been hectic at the moment. So,
Yeah.
hang on. She's getting antsy.
There's a bunch of there is a bunch of stuff popping up. Like we mentioned briefly before the podcast started here. Like you tried to watch Florida Man. I tried to watch Florida Man. It put me in mind of Terriers, but it's wobbly. The guy who's the lead.
It lost me around the part where he goes in to save the woman that's drowning, and then was it a shark or a gator bites his leg? And I was watching, I was like, what's happening? Like, what's happening?
It was so ludicrous.
And it looked so bad. It was just, yeah.
But it was like, I don't know what it's trying to strike tonally. I guess somebody's having fun. The way the guy delivers lines is putting me in mind of The Room, because he's like delivering all his words, but there is pauses in interesting places that make me think he's trying to either remember the words or has remembered them verbatim without necessarily it being his first language. Maybe that's me just, I don't know, he's got a weird intonation is what I'm getting at. I don't know that it's bad. I think he's got a good look and a good charisma about him, which has carried me through watching it.
He's also a bit TV Javier Bardem.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Like the opening sequence in the hardware store is kind of fun. Like I can kind of see where this is aiming at. That scene. So he's standing on a beat. Look, we've only between us watched about 2 episodes. Nothing we're going to talk about is actually narratively spoilery, but we are going to talk about a couple of little bits, right? So the scene that Brian is talking about, he's in Florida and he sees a woman having trouble in the water. He looks at the lifeguard doesn't see her. He runs in, and as he's pulling her out, the woman then starts yelling that he is taking liberties and assaulting her because her top came off during the rescue. And I don't know what they're trying to say there, but he's suddenly defensive and he says, I'll go back in the water and get the top, because he sees it, try and prove he's not a pervert assaulting a woman, even though he just saved her from drowning. He goes back in to get the top, and as he's waving it around, going, I got it, a shark swims up and bites his leg. And this is the type of, there's something
the way
about
it's shot
Mary
as well
kind of
looks
Dumb and Dumber
it
comedy.
looks like Jackass kind of.
Exactly.
It was like it looked like Jackass. I was like, what's happening?
Without any context for what, like I'm describing that scene, so a listener who's not watched this show goes, oh, they're describing some very, very broad comedy. But before that, it's kind of like aiming at like visually dynamic film noir thriller thing.
Yeah.
So
it looks. It suddenly looks like
nowhere.
it's a different TV show. It's just like the shot where he's holding onto a shark in the water. It just looks like something out of a prank show. Like the style, the visual style, and the camera work, it changes completely, and
yeah,
it's bizarre.
It's just a mess. It's kind of just a mess so far. There's dialogue where like he's pointing out like the lack of a apostrophe at the end of a thing, and it's like, he's whoever's written it has seen funny shows that banter, sort of Whedon-esque chat about nonsense or Sorkin-esque. There's a scene where they think a character is dead and they are alive, and the explanation for that is the person picked up a paramedic and convinced them to administer some sort of medication that slowed their pulse to the point of imperceptible. Like, it's like they faked their death in the most ludicrously elaborate way for a punter with no connections in this town to like. It's one thing driving a car off a cliff and going, "Oh, the body was never found." It's another thing going, "I went and I picked up a paramedic, convinced them to." I mean, to break the law drastically, to like, it just does not make a lick of sense. Like the motives or the explanations, it's just not. It's one thing if this person had been in a weird, tense, heated, almost criminal relationship with a doctor, and then you convince them to do something medical. But it's like you just walked up to a stranger and convinced them to fake your death with you. It's fucking weird. Yeah, so it's a bit of a mess so far. I don't know if I'll
don't
keep
bother
with it.
Don't watch it. Don't waste your time.
Yeah, I'll see how much more I can do with it. I got 2 episodes in.
Next week, Kev's going to tell us he binged it all in a weekend. It's his new favorite show.
It's his new favorite show. Like they've got that guy Clark Gregg in it as well from Avengers and stuff.
And he's in the clip that automatically plays like on the preview, and it's him trying to buy a gun, and then he doesn't show up for, I don't know, a whole episode or something.
No, he's in the first episode briefly.
He's in the first episode.
Yeah. So again, our lead has to procure a gun, and he, from all the checked guns being brought through on the like. I actually don't know that that's the process. Is that the process? I've seen people check guns, but like it's hardly like the standard luggage rail, just a row of gun boxes roll out waiting to be picked up. Anyway, he just walks past a baggage carousel, picks up a gun, walks out of the place, and it's Clark Gregg's, and Greg is going to be trying to get that gun back, I'm sure. I'm sure that's the angle, but we'll see.
Who cares?
It's an odd show.
I've not heard of it, so I'll check it out.
It just popped up. I don't know where it came from.
I think it came out last week because I watched it, I think last Friday, and I gave up on it.
Okay. Apparently the new season of Maisel is up. I do love Maisel. I'll have to watch that. I have not
realized they were still making it.
Oh, they got to like, this is the final season. I loved last season. Last season was season 4. And I had, while I love it, I had kind of tired with what they were doing in season 3. But 4 was great. 4 was great. And by the end of it, I was like, this is awesome. And there's a wonderful scene with the guy who plays Lenny Bruce. There's a number of great scenes, but it just ends in the finale with this like beautiful, like they're in Carnegie Hall. And I think it's shot during the pandemic. So they've this big empty theater that they're having this scene in. It's great. I love it a lot. Though at the same time, it also has one of the worst, most glaring in the middle of the pandemic pickup shots with like 2 people who clearly aren't even in the same room as each other, let alone. And then there's like green screened backgrounds. They obviously shot the master on the street outside the location, and then they shot the inserts.
Yeah.
On green screens with different people. It was a bit weird. So, by the time you talk to me next week, I've watched that. There's a trailer for a new Arnold Schwarzenegger series on Netflix called Fubar.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of it.
I don't know if you checked out the trailer for Fubar.
No. What is it about? Is it reality TV?
No.
No, it's a
kind
True
of
Lies
an
kind of
offshoot
thing.
of True Lies.
What, Brian?
He's not the
Except
same character, is he?
He's not the same character, but it's kind of based on the concept that there's 2 family members have been living a secret life, basically.
Okay, well, that sounds good.
Yeah.
It's
So
in
they've
the
both
it's
been
it's in the
him
trailer
and his
pretty big.
daughter have been working as agents, I think, for
Yeah.
a while, unbeknownst to each other. Which tells me they're pretty shitty agents.
Pretty shitty agents.
Pretty shitty. That should be.
I don't know. I will
Shitty,
watch all
shitty
of it.
agents.
I will watch all of it.
I probably won't unless I hear.
How
it's
old is
very
Schwarzenegger?
good.
They call him 65 in the middle of the trailer, and it's like, how old is Schwarzenegger?
He's at least 65, probably 70.
Yeah, I would have thought he is 75 years old. I don't know. I have much affection for Arnold. My fixation with calf raises is entirely down to watching Arnold Schwarzenegger documentaries. I gotta build bigger calves.
How many calf raises do you do a week?
Probably. Hold on, bear with me. Okay, this week, 5 sets of 25 and 5 sets of 12. Can you do the maths on that?
5 sets of 25?
It's 125 plus 5 sets of 12.
60, 185.
185. Yeah, something like that. And if I do that, like that's a calf workout, so I might do that once or twice a week.
That's not enough.
Shit.
It's not enough. Gotta pump up those numbers.
Shit.
Those are rookie numbers.
Brian,
It do be like that. Yes,
we went to a show this week.
we did.
We did. And in this show, they were discussing how one of the actors on the show learned some Irish. And then they had mentioned that the person who had taught the actor the Irish was an Irish person from Cork. And the audience booed.
They booed.
I don't understand that. And then Terry said that there is like hostility towards Dublin or between Dublin and Cork people, or that people look on Cork people unfavorably.
Yeah, they do.
Can you elaborate on that, Brian? And how does that make you feel?
I personally don't give a shit because, their boos mean nothing to me.
I've seen what they cheer.
I've seen what they cheer.
Best line from
I've seen what makes you cheer.
Rick and Morty, isn't it?
Nothing to me.
It's like your boos mean nothing to me.
Yeah.
Did I ruin your bit, Brian? Okay.
No, not at all.
Or that bit,
No.
you know what I mean?
It was funny because I was thinking that the line in Rick and Morty is kind of awkwardly.
It is a bit.
phrased as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your boos mean nothing to me. I've seen what? Sorry, I've got a tail on my face.
Aiden's cattail. It's unpredictable.
What about you?
There's a line Dan Harmon has in one of his podcasts, and it's a throwaway line, and I think it's a precursor to that Rick and Morty line.
I mean,
but
yeah. I mean, they didn't invent that line, you know.
No, it's
No.
It's about his opinion of himself. It's something along the lines of don't tell me you love me, I hate myself, so that's a surefire way to lose my respect.
All right, it's kind of the same sentiment as I wouldn't want to be part of any club that would allow
Have
me.
me.
Oh God, yeah, that's funny. But does Chris still listen now that you're recording in the same vicinity? Why doesn't he come on the podcast?
That's a good point. I'll invite him on.
Yeah, let's pick a movie. Let him pick a movie,
Chris on.
and Brian doesn't have to watch it, but I'll do my best to watch it.
Brian doesn't have homework, but we're going to watch a thing, and if it happens to be,
Look, I'll watch it so long as it's not like Fast and Furious tier material.
Would you like to pick the movie, Brian?
Okay. Do you want to watch 65?
Sure.
No, we tried watching that and did not get through it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Though,
Adam Driver might be Mr.
smoked a bunch of
Fantastic.
weed and fell asleep.
Don't hate that. At this stage, I don't really care who they cast as people as long as it's good.
Well, like, listen.
Adam Driver's
No,
great.
I'm just saying, like,
So-
it doesn't. Casting means nothing to me. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not following it. Yeah, I know what you mean.
So I tried to watch 65, and I know I'm sidetracking from the
That's all right.
from
We'll circle back.
from the It's Always Sunny pod, but there's an opening scene over which they have text on screen that tries to explain there were people before there were people and they were in space. So already you're kind of giving the game away. I know that like once a movie exists and the premise is out there, you're not going to keep something like that secret. But like, if The Sixth Sense started with there are ghosts in the world and sometimes people see ghosts and sometimes you might not know you're a ghost, then you kind
And
of
like the thing is, like
it'll
it'll only really get out if the film is huge anyway.
Yeah.
So you lose nothing by keeping it a secret. If you keep it a secret and people go see it and the film's a success, then it gets out. But it doesn't matter because the film's a success.
Well, they put
But if
text
you're
on
giving
screen at the very start that explains that people basically just says, the sort of like the celestial seeding thing, the idea that we populated Earth from another. So basically it goes, there were people in the universe traveling space long before those people started on this planet. And that's on screen. And then you go to that planet and you get a scene where Adam Driver explains that he's got to go on a fucking space journey. And then it cuts to the space journey and the crash. And then there's 20 minutes of faffing about, and then he sees the giant dinosaur footprint on the ground, and then it goes, then 65 appears on screen. So you're like 20 minutes in and the credits appear, and then it goes 65 million years before human. Like, it's like, why are you...
That's a very TV move.
It's only like 89 minutes long as well, and that first scene is so expositionary. I feel like this movie was a train wreck to shoot, and they've ended up with what works best in 90 minutes. Now, I then kind of fell asleep and woke up, and fell asleep and woke up, so I don't know what the rest of the fucking film's like. It looked like it could have been like a really fun adventure thing with a nice twist, is that it was, you know, Planet of the Apes, it was Earth all along, but instead they just keep shouting the twist at you. So it's not a twist, it's superliminal, and then it's like really oddly serious. It's got like shit Luc Besson vibes. Does that make sense?
So Luc Besson.
Oh, shots fired, Aidan. You've been hit, Brian.
Shots
hole in one,
fired.
slam dunk.
Element's great.
It's hard to watch his stuff when you know he's a big dirty creep.
Who looked best on?
Or French.
I loved Fifth Element when I first saw it. I really did.
And he loved Mila as well when he first saw her at the age of 15.
Yeah. And it's hard to watch Leon.
Man, but to be honest,
Oh, what a big dirty
Leon
creep
was
he is.
always hard to watch. Leon was always hard to watch. I always thought but she's a child, like she's coming on to an adult, or
I think I'd seen the maybe theatrical cut first, and it wasn't until I watched the director's cut and I was like, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Wait now.
Hold on, Mr. Postman. Is that a true story about Leon, that a bank was being robbed coincidentally near filming on another street, and the people that were trying to escape, the robbers who were trying to escape.
Well, we've both heard it, so
Yes,
it must
absolutely. I don't know if Aiden's heard it, but for the purposes of the listeners, during the filming of the final scene in Leon, a bank was being robbed at the same time in another street, and as the robbers were trying to get away, they turned a corner onto the set of Leon, but not realizing a movie was being filmed, and the street was covered with police officers and all that kind of stuff. The lads gave up; they surrendered themselves, where everybody was just actors. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Have you heard the story before, Aidan? No, something like that, Brian. Right?
Tell you what, I think I've seen Leon maybe once, and even then, I think I tuned into it 20 minutes in on Channel 4.
Fair.
At midnight.
I think that was probably the first time I saw it.
Yeah,
That
I
same
loved
showing that
stumbling.
it was on TV one night, and I was like, "Oh, I've been meaning to see this." And then I watched it, and I was like, "This is amazing." And I'd seen it a few more times and thought it was great. And then I bought the DVD and watched the director's cut, and I was like, "Ugh."
I definitely watched the DVD. I know my dad bought the DVD, and I would have watched it.
"Yeah." You go from kind of thinking that Leon's this, solitary. He's sad because he's solitary and lonely, but then in the director's cut, he's a man child. He's a pedo man child, and it's weird. And especially when he's an insert for the director, it's like,
yeah. Men do be doing that sometimes in media.
They do be
like that sometimes. Sometimes you read like I can't remember the comic book creator's name, but he had a few bits. He had a few big pieces done. But yeah, he just kind of some of his more low key books that he released. It's just like, wow, that's really weird that an adult man wrote that.
Yeah, John Chrisfalusi. The Ren and Stimpy guy, like I was talking about him again today. He got into
something
a
new came up,
habit of...
Aiden, or
No, I
or
was
you were
just
just
talking
talking
to
about it today? Okay. Old news.
talking to somebody about like Ren and Stimpy. Like say what you will, Spumco had an influence on the 90s and then the animation industry going forward with SpongeBob and everything
Flapjack.
else. So it kind of comes up, and it's made it like that style made, like, I don't know, I don't entirely know if that's entirely Chris Falusi, but it's like, or like there's a lot of like crumb.
It's very closely attributed
Americans
to him.
blend,
Anyway.
like there's a lot of like crumb
in animation anyway. Yeah,
indie American comic to it as well.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, you can't kind of think of Ren and Stimpy without thinking of the fact that like, I don't know the ins and outs 100%, but it's stuff like, you know, he was mentoring high school students into the animation
I did not
industry,
know that.
You know, come stay at my house. Oh yeah,
That's
there's a couple of people who I think are animation professionals now who are like, yeah, it was super fucked up. I'm working now, but like now I'm broad stroking the narrative there, and any
thrown allegedly in somewhere there, just for your sake. I mean,
what did I say? I said he was mentoring
children having relationships with him.
but then in a relationship, you said.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's
person
move
Allegedly.
on,
Anyway.
because
Allegedly. Kev, I'm looking at a map, and you are like a straight shot to Brickfield Park.
Okay, I will do.
Check it out. It's huge.
Because I don't really.
Good few people with dogs there. I think there's like dog walking groups meet there sometimes. I haven't been there in years, so but it's a big park. You'll have plenty of space.
She won't go outside. She does and she doesn't. She'll come outside if both Emer and I are out there, but she's no interest if one of us is out there really. She gets spooked by everything. But no, she'll go outside. That's fine. We can take her for a walk. She does come for a walk, but just not out the back garden. But I think because she feels like if she goes out there, someone's going to close the door and she's not going to be allowed back in. And she loves the couch. Yeah. You know?
She'll be fine.
Man,
you know.
yeah, for sure.
Her esteem will grow, you know, once she gets comfortable and everything.
She's a super beautiful dog, and I'm so grateful and lucky to have her. She's gorgeous. She is the love of my life. I love her. But yeah, I was even talking to my mum, and my mum was like, "Oh my god, I can hear it from your own voice how much you love her already." You know, it's just like, "Yep, she's a beauty." God bless her. She's so funny. She's gorgeous looking. But sorry, I'll stop gushing about my dog because no one wants to hear that. But you can cut it.
Well, I brought it up, so
sorry.
You know.
But okay, I will check it out, Brian. I will check it out. I probably know it, to be honest, but I'll have to Google it and see. But I just Anyway, sorry, I got derailed there. But yes,
by me.
It's all right. We went to see a podcast this week. We saw It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia podcast. It was very good. It was very funny. I did enjoy it. There's parts of it I didn't like, but most of all,
the part where they were doing the family fight bit. I don't know if you saw this, but Charlie kind of leaned over to Meg and was like,
"Yeah, it didn't work.
Cut this bit. Skip this. It didn't work."
Yeah, and then she, like,
right.
So there's an episode. Aiden,
I remember.
Have you watched much of the show?
I've watched. I think I've watched everything. Maybe I haven't seen the latest series. Especially the Irish series kind of put me off because kind of so much was made of it, and then I was like, oh, this is just fucking green screen and bad stock photography.
Yeah.
And like generic commercial streets that could be a mall anywhere, and it's like, that's not fucking.
They had wanted to do it on location, but COVID.
Pandemic. Yeah.
No, but there's an episode where they do kind of a family fortune or family feud or whatever the show is, and Keegan-Michael Key is doing the Steve Harvey bit. So they did a version of that live.
Right. It didn't
where
work.
They were like asking. It just didn't work.
Yeah. Wasn't funny.
It just kind of lost the crowd for whatever reason. But we kind of noticed that they only had 2 rounds of it planned anyway, I think. But you could see during the first round, Charlie leaned over to Megan Gans, she's a producer on the show and she produced the podcast, but he kind of leaned over.
Writer on Community, writer on Always Sunny. Right, yeah.
He's like, cut this. This isn't working. So yeah, like the whole thing was great, but there was stuff that, you know, it's weird. I was thinking about it today, and aside from the like scheduled bits, I can't remember what they talked
about. Nothing, Brian.
Which is weird.
They talked about nothing.
Like so there was kind of scheduled stuff, which didn't take up a whole lot of time. Like collectively, it did. But between that, I was like, I can't remember.
I had fun, but I don't know what the content of this was.
Yeah, because like a lot of it was her saying, "Here's my favorite Dennis moments. Here's my favorite Charlie moments."
And they felt more like interruptions than anything else.
A lot of members.
Yeah, and that's, you know, those were maybe like if each character was like maybe 10 minutes each. So I guess maybe that took up 30 minutes. But that's 10 minutes kind of each time where they're not really talking. They're watching a clip play behind them. And then between that, it's like, I don't remember what they talked
abused-
about or said, because I don't think they, like I
They
said,
abused the British a lot.
yeah,
They
did.
talked about Wrexham a little bit. I just don't want to leave it in. I felt the big drag down the whole thing was that Megan girl, because I haven't listened to the podcast. I don't know her, but like I don't want I don't want to see you kissing your boss's ass on stage. Was just cringy to me. She slowed it down.
When they came back after the intermission, she was a bit drunk.
Okay.
She probably had drinks before, but in between when she came back, she wasn't messy or anything, but she was talking so much more. Obviously leave this out. She was talking so much more when they came back.
Smothered
it was just like she was very sincere. But at the end of the day, it does amount to her kissing her boss's bums, you know.
Man,
I get it as well, because like she's on tour with them. You know, she's traveling with them. She's gone from being like a kind of a smaller part writer to this big thing. There was a lot of people in the crowd that were just as happy to see her as they were them. So I can get her feeling very loved up because they've given her this opportunity and stuff. But like, completely agree with you. She just kind of took it over. I would have much rather them talk about bullshit for 2 hours and just feel like you're in the room listening
doing
to them,
it, rather
than have it actually be a schedule.
Yeah, I think they could have just shot the breeze and talked about the show. And happened organically, you know.
Yeah.
Like I've seen Impractical Jokers do live show, and I've seen the last podcast on the left do a live show, and they also have bits and segments and all kinds of stuff. And don't get me wrong, like they could also, you know, have maybe done less of it to a degree, you know. However, it was just them on stage talking about the bits that they wanted to talk about. So you kind of felt like, you know, they had like, say last podcast on the left, for example. Each person had picked a subject that they wanted to talk about, and then they riffed on each other and had to crack them back and forth and stuff, which kind of worked, you know. If each person had picked, like, say, just an episode, like every time they just did a different episode and they just picked it and they just talked about it and they let it riff, that would have been even a little bit better, you know. And they just like, but it was stiff. It was stiff, but like I liked it. Don't get me wrong, but anyways, yes, moving past, but
yeah, like it definitely needed the intermission. Yeah. And then after the intermission, it was just kind of like, I hope they either wrap this up soon or move on from this kind of current bit, because it's just...
Yeah, like even Charlie was cringing at like when she was like kissing his ass too much, and he was just like kind of just like, stop, like, okay, like showed a bit, you know. And some of them weren't like the fat dance. Max fat dance wasn't even a good bit. Like Charlie totally outshone him in that bit, you know what I mean? Like it was so weird. Anyways, what I was gonna say to you,
it's literally just because he that gif of him, basically him shuffling across the stage has become like a meme and a gif, and it's basically just that. But then they played the whole other section, which is, you know, Charlie singing and stuff.
Yeah,
like they could have just played that
bit
second of him shuffling across the stage.
But like it was really, really good. Like it was so funny. Like I had a crazy good time, and it flew past. It really did flew. It didn't really drag. It didn't drag at all, and it was really good fun. And like they were going really hard on the Brits, and they said they don't like England and the Brits, but they don't like British culture, but they don't mind the people, or they like the people or something, you know, which is so funny. But Rob's obviously in Wales, just hearing loads of shit as well, you know. I think his football clubs is in Wales.
Yeah, I mean they played 2 shows in London on the same day, you know. So
the same day that they did your show.
No. As in, they did 4 shows altogether.
Right.
I think they did a afternoon and an evening show in London.
Oh, that makes sense.
On the same day. Yeah. So they did that Sunday. Then they were in Dublin Monday. Then they went to Wales Tuesday to watch Wrexham, and then Dublin on Wednesday. So I like as much as they were making fun of English people and stuff, like they still played to.
Oh, dude! And there was so many British people there. London, there were so many British people at the thing, you know.
Yeah, and they're playing up to us as well.
Absolutely. Oh no! Here, look, it was good fun because like there was random British people sitting beside us, you know. And when he started going like really hard, and everybody was cheering, and people were saying stuff and commenting and all that kind of stuff, you know. And we were laughing our ass off. They were laughing too, like, you know. But I will say she had to get up and walk past me, and I was just like, I don't hate all the Brits, you know. And she burst out laughing, you know. But I was like, you're some of you are grand, but no. But that was good fun. But I was going to say, so that makes sense because you had sent us something during the week from from Reddit that was talking about. People were talking about an incident that happened at one of the shows, but they were referencing a 2:30 show or like a 6 o'clock show or 4:30 show, or so I can't remember as such. But so that was that. So it happened in London.
It happened in London.
Do you want to go into that?
Yeah. So, and the thing is, what happened was Caitlin Olsen comes out at the end of the show as a kind of a surprise guest, and she was talking, and from what I've heard, she got a huge reception each time she came out. So I basically what happened is people then, when she was talking on stage, some people were shouting like lines from the show. Like there's a running joke in the show that anytime she's talking, they say she looks like a bird, so they're always saying like "shut up, bird." So some people in the crowd were shouting that out. I get them shouting it once or twice because they just want to be part of the thing, but apparently they were doing it too much, maybe, I guess. To the extent
were we
that they were
talking about this before?
I had sensed the...
that Rob had got annoyed at people shouting, "Shut
so
up, bird."
what happened, what I heard happened was they kept shouting it, and then Charlie asked, "What are they saying?" And then Rob replied to him, said, "Oh, they just, just people who think they're funny or something." And then apparently the energy kind of changed after that a bit. Maybe it did. I don't know. It was kind of towards the end of the show anyway. And I really don't think, I don't know, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, I don't think anybody meant it in a really serious way. People do also confuse people for their characters. I don't know.
Yeah, but also like there's...
Thankfully, it didn't happen.
She got an amazing response at Dublin show. She got like one of the best responses of the whole night. In fairness, people were chanting deep, deep, deep.
It was a cool bit because they were doing they had like kind of recurring characters on the show to recorded segments, so they'd play that clip between sections, and that was cool. Like the two lawyer ones actually
hilarious. Yeah, Artemis is good as well, to be fair, but yeah.
And then they had her at the end do a bit, and she's like, "Oh, kind of must be great to be there to get all that adoration. I wasn't invited, so kind of sucks that I wasn't there." And she kind of just goes on and on acting as if she's not really there, and then she says "fuck it," and she just walks off. So she's doing it like to her cell phone camera, and then she just kind of walks away from the camera, and then she kicks the door open and she's out on stage, and people went crazy.
Appropriately crazy. Yeah, it was great fun. Like the show was good fun. The
show was great. It was good fun. It was kind of like not a glorified, but it was like a mass meet and greet,
Yeah.
But it was cool. That's kind of all people wanted, just to kind of see them.
Very relaxed inside, you know what I mean? Like kind of, but it depends on the venue. I suppose like the Tree Arena, whatever it's called now, is massive. People kind of feel like, they can just like, like there was like, it's not necessarily like a criticism because it is what it is. Like it didn't affect me at all. It was more an observation. But people just chatting away and walking around, and like it was like non-stop. It was like really free flowing, like, you know what I mean? It was like, wow, people just really don't sit down and wait for the intermission. You know what I mean? Like I don't mind. Like I'm not giving out. But
I've rarely. No, to be honest, I would give it. It bothers me so much.
Everybody was moving constantly,
always in
up and
Dublin,
down, walking around.
People just fucking. Yeah, that drives me crazy, to be honest.
It was mad. It didn't.
If you're going to the bathroom or something, fair enough. But some people just talk like they haven't seen each other all week, and they're catching up at the show, and it's like, Jesus.
That shit's crazy.
Christ, just I remember. I'm sure it happens in a lot of places, but it happens to me all the time in Dublin at gigs.
I remember years ago, I went to a podcast recording of like Jay and Silent Bob in Vicar Street. And it's kind of a similar thing in terms of like the family fortunes thing you mentioned earlier, of like something not working, but they didn't. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I know it was right in the era where Kevin was a firm believer in smoking weed as much as possible. I think he's backed off on that, but like,
I don't think so.
it was I think he has to a degree. I saw him on something else, where he's just sort of like, this isn't helping me anymore. It's not good for my heart and whatever else. Fair enough. But it's great. It's good to see growth in a person. But like, this show was like 2.5 hours long, and there's a solid like 40-50 minute narrative, the thing that happened in the middle of it, and like the room was just like, what?
Oh jeez.
It was, and like, there's a lot of like nerds that are giving them loads of fucking leeway, but like I went with Bavian, and Bavian was half interested to be there in the fucking first place, and you could see like this is like, it was death, and like Kevin was just letting Jay talk, and there was just no point to it. So like the first chunk was fun, and the back end of it was fun, but there was this whole middle section where you're like, the fuck is this? And that many fucking sweaty nerd fanboys in a room, the room had a musk to it. But like something as amorphous as a podcast can be death live if it's not well put together, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like I can see why they planned and structured
100%.
this, because
Keep it on track.
If the conversation just wasn't kind of flowing or whatever, but at the same time, too much structure then, especially if it's a part that's not working, is just going to stop it dead in its tracks just as much, you know.
I'm on a little stool here, lower back starting to give in.
That's not good.
Sorry, I will just check it on herself because I don't hear her, so I had to check on her. But you're also looking very good, Aidan. How's America's obviously treating you well?
I'm also cycling everywhere, so every time I go out in the evening, I've invariably got 4 to 5 miles out and back.
But you're sitting down though.
On the bike?
Yeah.
What are you
Cycling's
saying?
bullshit exercise.
What?
Oh, all right.
You're sitting down. You're sitting down on wheels.
Sure. It's cardio,
That's
right?
why I walk my dog.
For the heart.
Are you pumping like really hard?
Yeah, trying to.
Are you?
All right.
Are you though?
Okay. Aidan, I think you're great.
Should I be walking, Brian? Should I be walking
You should
these
be
10
walking.
miles? I should be walking these 10. That's what we're getting at.
You should
Okay.
be walking.
I should be walking these 10 miles.
Brian's
Yes.
walking
Yeah.
tourist for those at home.
But I'm not a great cyclist. I'm not a great walker. But this city is flat, which is great. The bike I've got's
Great
nice
for
and light.
walking.
I have a question.
Can't you just say?
It's also not good for your
You don't
back.
have to work
It's
it.
not good for your back to be sitting in that hunched over position. This is why you're swaying backwards and forwards now, because your back is screaming at you because you're sitting down all the time. It's not good for your back.
I'm not sitting down all the time. Yeah, I might be seated a fair amount. I am going to. Jesus. Okay. Well,
I think you look good, buddy.
thanks.
I never said he doesn't look good. I'm just saying
No,
cycling.
it's just cycling is bullshit.
It sounds like you're
Unless
winning
you're
at life at the
doing
moment,
like
so I'm happy for you.
Yeah, I mean,
spin
look,
level
I
and
just
tenacity.
know I'm putting on muscle mass, and I'm getting out
cultivating
in the world,
weight.
and I'm eating lots. and
Cultivating mass.
What are the measurements? What are the tape measurements?
what are the measurements?
Yeah.
5 inches.
How do you
but
know
it's
you're
thick.
putting on muscle?
5 inches around.
So you're chode.
I didn't say that.
5 inches
A
around.
tuna can.
Look, we'll work out. Like, I'll get a DEXA something machine, the one that does your full body makeup, and we'll do that when I get back.
Shut up.
You can just get a weighing scales. Give you
Okay.
an indication. You brought it up.
I know.
brought it up.
You
brought it up.
You said I'm conscious of the fact that like American food is very easy to like, a lot of fat, a lot of high fructose corn syrup. It's slightly different. They use
American
different.
people fat. Unbelievable.
Are they not?
They're not the fattest population in the world.
Oh my!
I believe.
Oh my god!
Are
I
they?
believe that
Are they?
Oh
Are
my
they
God.
not? Are they not? Are they not fat? Are they not?
Anyways, the cop car that you have, does it still have the lights on it?
Oh yeah. It doesn't have the like the red and blues up top, but it's got the little spotlights that like I can be in the car and I can like turn this little thing and point it at place, and it's crazy
Wild.
bright. But it's also
Yeah,
illegal to do that.
incredibly illegal. And is it kind of like, is it the
So
same
they're
color as a
there.
police car, but just not without stickers?
They took the so it's a Ford
Yeah,
Crown
I
Vic.
know.
It's a boat. It's wide. There's no center console. The glove box opens straight out into the engine. Like, it's been stripped of like all of the like cop gear, so it's pretty stripped down. Like the back seat has one seatbelt plug because like I think there's probably a law that you need to have one seatbelt in the back seat. But whoever stripped this thing out was just like, we're stripping everything out. But there's probably like, how many people did they put in the back seat of a cop car anyway?
I've been deprived.
You wouldn't want to put more than 2.
Deprived of
they'd
that
gang up
knowledge,
on you then.
unfortunately. Deprived of that experience, let's just say.
But it's pretty it's pretty lean in terms of creature comforts. But it's a well, even in saying that though, like the seats, the driver's seat, passenger seat, like fucking armchairs, big, beefy, comfy things. It's fun to drive. It's great.
Amazing. That is fun. It sounds like you're having a proper adventure over there, my man. Sounds exciting.
Yeah. I'm going to see Beau is Afraid on Sunday.
What's that?
I've heard it's hard going.
See, this is the thing. Yeah, I got talked into it.
I'd still go see it because
Ari Aster makes good films.
Ari
We know
Aster.
this, or has so far. But I have to be cajoled into horror. Or
it's not really horror.
This is a horror comedy. Like it. Yeah, I mean, there's a review of it that was pretty.
Would you go see that Nicolas Cage Ryan, whatever it's called?
Renfield?
That looks terrible.
Renfield.
Is it Renfield?
Renfield, yeah.
Okay, because Ryan confused me.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck it's called. You got it, though. You got it.
I mean, you've seen a Dracula story, right?
Nicolas Cage, Dracula movie, Ryan
You've
something.
seen one of the billion Dracula stories.
Anyways, you're not answering any of my questions.
So this is Rolling Stones. Rolling Stones. Beau is Afraid is the Citizen Kane of mommy issues movies. Dissolves the line between comedy and horror. Is a nightmare-fueled masterwork.
Sounds great.
It sounds like I'm going to be uncomfortable. But, you
You should get high beforehand.
Oh, God.
Is weed legal in Chicago?
It is. I have not pursued this, but it is, yeah.
Excellent.
Follow-up questions?
No. You'd fucking ignored or arrested him, so why would I be bothered?
What were the other questions?
Fuck yeah.
What question did I miss?
Fuck you, man.
No, hold on. What question did I miss? I feel like I've answered.
You'd know if you were listening to it.
Just
I asked you you asked questions about the phone.
This is why he was gone for
real
3
for
weeks.
fun.
Questions about the cop car. I started talking about Beau is Afraid. You asked me would I go and see Is it would I go and see Renfield in the middle of talking about Beau is Afraid? Yes, I would go and see Renfield. I like Nicholas Hoult. I like Nicolas Cage. The trailer was really fun. I enjoyed the stuff I saw there.
You're
I don't know what you're
overcompensating.
talking
now.
about.
I'm not mad on vampires with a million little teeth.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Who did I hear is going to be in Venom 3?
Why are they doing Venom 3? That's worse than any being on this podcast.
I know, right? Yeah, dial it back a little bit.
No, I love Aiden. I missed him terribly. I do miss him. He doesn't answer. Actually, he doesn't even answer my voicemails. I asked you about how was C2E2 and did you meet Daniel Warren Johnson?
When did I miss
And he
that?
never
I'm sorry.
Well, he
replied.
doesn't
Oh
really
my
reply to
God.
anything I said to him.
That's
But he
just
never did, to be
rude,
fair.
to
It's
be
not like a
fair.
new Aiden Chicago thing. It's like an old Aiden thing. You did fix my water though that time, which I will be grateful for.
I did. Did you
No,
fix
I
your?
haven't-
Did you
I
get
haven't done it yet,
your?
because every time I go onto it and I try to book a boiler repair thing, it just says it's fetching my information, and then it just goes with that for about 50 minutes and goes nowhere. It's hard. It's hard to do things in a house. You know, it's annoying. Sometimes I wish,
Try a different browser.
yeah, I was on my mobile phone, so it worked for me before. That's the only frustrating thing, you see.
Okay. Yeah, but sometimes that shit's like if Chrome isn't working, try
I know.
Safari. I'll never try Safari. Safari's never the one to. But if you're using Safari,
But
try
I do
Chrome.
use Safari all the time. Yeah, it's on my phone.
All right, we'll try something else.
Yeah,
I feel like Safari is not as well supported.
fair. But one good thing though about having a house now is I have a washing line. I didn't have a washing line before.
You get to hang out. Good weather for drying.
Oh
is
yeah.
it?
But the only thing is though, you do become a slave to it. Yeah,
The washing line. Oh, you got to watch it. Make sure it doesn't rain on it.
You do. I kind of, to be honest, one of the first weekends we were in the house. Seymour was like, "Don't put any clothes out. It's going to rain." And I was just like, "What? It looks pretty good out. I'm going to put clothes out." It rained, and I left the clothes on the line. Then for 3 days, it's a piss rain, constantly.
Do you have a dryer?
Not at the moment.
Okay. Right.
But what I do, it's Mother Nature, and it's great. But clothes so much better, so much easier drying clothes on a line up. So much easier. Personally.
How do you mean?
It's like I have your old clothes horse, Brian,
Right.
and that's
Oh, yeah.
Giving
that
it-
thing's
yeah,
nice.
that thing's a nightmare. Yeah, and
Yeah.
hope
Yeah, I thought you mean like versus drying though, like inside the dryer.
no.
Because dryer is just so much
The
more.
dryers are,
convenient.
but they're not good for the environment.
Shut up with that nonsense.
No, I'll do my air dry.
You have to dry your clothes. You have to
I
dry.
do
your
have your
clothes.
old clothes horse, Brian, and it's a beast, and it is
It's a monster.
But I'm giving it away to Terry, so it'll be his monster next. Yeah,
Nice.
but I had it well. I served me a long time.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm a slave to the clothesline now. But it's okay. It gives some extra structure to my day, which I probably need.
What? This sounds like rationalizing.
No, it's not. I'm probably
What seems like a pain in the
probably
ass,
gone
right?
mad. Yeah,
That seems like a complete
I reckon
pain in
though.
the
I
ass.
reckon
That's what happens when you.
I'm
move
definitely
into a
going to
house.
lose. I'm definitely
It's
going to
going
lose weight because not having the shop as close to me as it was previously makes a huge difference. Because to be honest, I seldom have food now, and I starve.
You
I
starve.
That's
Yeah,
not great either.
Emer had to go to work today, and she has to go to her work thing tonight. So I'm at home with wee Bjug, but the shops around here you can't go into them if you have a dog, and I can't leave Bjug alone at the moment. She has a little bit of separation anxiety, and it just wouldn't be well for her. I think this early into her being here just yet, you know, because it's not as if you can distract her with food. She doesn't care. Peanut butter, anything, she doesn't care. So I have no food in the house at the moment, and I can't go to shop to get any. So, but there's a few places that are dog friendly. So I was thinking of going up to them and just ordering dinner and eating there with the dog.
That's a good
Yeah,
idea.
there's lots of dog friendly places around, which is great. And I think I saw a TikTok or a Instagram page that is dog friendly Dublin or something, and they're just they're rating all the dog friendly places. And I'll check it out.
Go to the Royal.
Oh
Oak
yeah, man, of course.
and then get yourself some
Yeah.
crisps.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Guinness and a crisps. Yeah, Royal Oak is great.
Crips.
I can't
Crips.
say crisps right, but Royal Oak is great. Yeah. The great thing is Bjog is
Mr.
really
Royal
chill and loves other dogs. She loves every dog she sees. So and people. So it's great. And she's
great.
nice and calm and stuff. So it's like. And when she gets overwhelmed, she just goes back to you. Like she'll jump on you. So it's fine in terms of like bringing her places and doing things because she's chill. But we'll help her. We'll train her up and do whatever. But we just have to find as you said, maybe try some chicken. We probably weren't recording that stage, but
Get a roast chicken this
strip it.
weekend, and
But a full chicken, I suppose I could freeze it, couldn't
put
I?
that in the. Just have a roast dinner. Get a chicken. Have a roast chicken. But did you see that?
yeah, chicken.
He said the word
Chicken?
chicken and the dog looked up. Oh,
Yeah, no,
understand
that's how much they
words.
like. That's how much they like chimkin.
stop saying
The
it.
poor dog, you're torturing her.
There's some downstairs from yesterday, so she's going to get some of
Okay,
that afterwards.
awesome.
Yeah,
She
cook that.
deserves it.
The smell of it
Oven
in
would
the,
drive me nuts.
in the
Yeah,
oven
great, man. I'm gonna do it.
is
I'm gonna do it.
golden.
Whatever to get this dog.
and then
happy,
she'll get some afterwards, and then
She only eats wet food at the moment.
I'll be
so
shocked
I'd like
if
to
that's
get
what you
eat
do.
some kibble, but do a big style for her. But let's not turn this into the dog. End this dog.
Dog cast.
Why not? Let's pivot. The endless dog.
Endless dog.
Oh my god.
I guess one of the things I didn't talk about here yet is last week I mentioned I was going to go to the House on the Rock with Chris.
What is this? Explain.
We talked about it a little bit briefly.
I've never heard of it.
So it's 3 hours into Wisconsin, or 3 hours from Chicago in Wisconsin, which was kind of funny to me as well because it's like a 3 hour journey in Ireland is the other side of the country, at which point you're generally staying.
Unless you're
the
in
night.
Cork.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because then you'd still be in Cork.
What? Because you're walking.
No, you can drive for 3 hours in Cork and still be in Cork.
Is that traffic related?
No.
Or
Nope.
no, I know what you're saying. Sorry, I know what you're saying. I know what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Oh
Sorry,
my
sorry,
God.
sorry. But I think of 3 hours. Shut up. I think of 3 hours is like I'm going to Cork, or I'm going to Galway, or I'm going to
Shut up.
You know,
Yeah, and it
Shut
it
up.
is.
and it is. And ordinarily, if I've driven those
But-
3 hours,
Cork is one of the few places where you can drive that long and still be in the same county.
No, but you know, Aiden, if you get it, Aiden, maybe you should explain it for the rest of people who don't get it, who might not get it. Or the people who do get it, so we know that you get it. You can drive
get
a
it.
circle around Cork for 3 hours, right? Just one continuous roundabout.
No,
no, it's a big county.
it's a
Yeah,
big
from
county.
Cork to Cork, it's 3 hours.
You can
I think
drive
I'm
for
on
3
the same
hours
page, Brian.
in one direction and still
Yes,
be
of
in
course,
Cork.
yeah. It's a massive county. Yeah, it's huge.
Yes. And I guess my point is, ordinarily, if I'm doing that 3 hours in Ireland, generally I'm going, and now I'm staying here for the night, as opposed to we just said we're just going to pick up, drive 3 hours that way, do a thing, and then drive 3 hours back. The house on the rock was built by a guy called Alex Jordan from like the late 50s, early 60s through to the late 80s, and it's like there's probably concrete history, but like when we were reading the stuff in there, it was like very like wishy-washy, like, oh, it's in dispute or there's arguments or whatever. Like there's an apocryphal tale that like the guy who wanted to build the place, might have been his father initially or him, showed a design to Frank Lloyd Wright, and Frank Lloyd Wright was like, this is bollocks, and he went away pissed off and said, fuck him, I'm going to do it anyway and it's going to be great. And it's a bit of a mess. He picked this sort of like rocky outcropping.
Yeah, I'm looking at pictures of it now.
On the top of a mountain.
And does it have all that dragon?
And so this is the
sorry.
thing. The first thing that
Sorry.
got built was this like mid-century house that's like bits of the mountain are in the place. Like you're
Yeah,
in
it's
a
pretty
cave
cool.
in many ways, and it's like barely 6 feet high in places. Like it's floor to ceiling carpeted. It's like there's big fireplace. It's just an uncohesive, ludicrous kind of like
mess.
trip.
Can't say that word.
Yeah, except you gotta like hoover your ceiling and hoover your handrails. Like the fucking banisters in the place are carpeted. Like it's crazy. And then he went like, oh, I guess I'll just build this Japanese garden outside of it. Oh, I'll just convert this mill house to store my collection of antique guns. And while I've got the antique guns, I'll put a giant fireplace in. I know I've got these automated musical instruments that play shit as I walk past. And then I've got these mannequins that look like they're holding the instruments. And then I've got these Victorian dolls.
Wouldn't it be great to be
I
eccentric?
was going to say,
And
there's kind of a lot of that around to a degree, isn't there? Like those big like affluent houses, and they have more money than taste and sense, and then you're walking around going like, why is there so much weird garbage and tack around this place?
so again, I went with no idea, and I've talked to people in Chicago as well, and they don't seem to know that this thing is here.
I've
for the
heard
most
about it
part.
for sure. I'm looking at it there.
But
I've seen it before.
I walked past in it. You walk past this like this model on a table of like a whale with like a giant squid wrapped around it, and like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then I walked into a room, and it had been converted to a 200-foot long whale.
Yeah, Jesus.
And a giant fucking squid wrapped around it across 3 stories that you walk up, around, and through. And then there's a 38-ton carousel at the end of it, and he's taken off the horses, and he's placed mannequins with wings and like goat heads on it, and it's like if you put enough fairy lights around a fucking serial killer's hovel, you can charge admission. It seems. It was really fun. It was a real like trippy place. Like it's so disjointed in terms of like what leads from one thing to the next. Like I'm in this room that's like made of like it's taken the concept of a church organ, and he's got like the dials, you know, the like keyboards with all the dials and the buttons and stuff, and he's found the like most sort of Sputnik-y version of that's like a capsule. It looks like the cockpit in Alien. But then there's just like, it's again 2 stories in this room of just like the pipes of organs everywhere, and like some of them are connected, some of them aren't. He's got giant pot stills in as well that should be in some whiskey distiller somewhere. So there's just all this copper and brass around you, and it's like, it's really visually interesting. And then you just pass a Gatling gun for some reason, and it's just batshit. And it's really funny. Like, I mean, again, that story about meeting Frank Lloyd Wright, it seems to be apocryphal. There's 3 different biographies published by individual people that don't seem to be on the same page. I saw a photo of him in the 80s, and it's pretty close to that photo you've seen of Stephen Dudley, the guy who was Bang Bang in Dublin. Like, that guy who's just like in a suit but just looks fucking mental in the eyes. His hair's... Huh?
What are you talking about?
Do you know the story of Bang Bang in Dublin? And 40 Coats and that sort of like Dublin loon? Bang Bang was a
40
guy
Coats
who...
the kids show, or
40 Coats the kids show was based on a vagrant that was known around Dublin who wore a load of coats. And...
right.
It was a real person. Bang Bang is another one of those sort of eccentric Dublin people that are really, like, as much as they're like Dublin characters, they're like, there was no healthcare in the 1940s. He sort of roamed around Dublin, and he had he had a church key, and it was a big old door key, and he would pretend it was a cowboy gun, like a pistol, a revolver, and he'd just be like, you'd be minding your own business on the street, and he'd pop out of nowhere and go bang, and people would play cowboys with him and fall down dead,
right.
And he was just a character. So people knew about Bang Bang wandering around. He was like, he was shooting engines because he would like cowboy movies, and so yeah, this guy again in the I think there's probably photos of him in the 50s where he looked a bit like cool and suited, but by the 80s he looked fucking mental.
I saw.
I think it was a big influence on stuff in American Gods as well. I think Neil Gaiman lived near enough for a while, and he's like, because there's a big carousel scene in season 2, and it's in the book as well. I think they shot some stuff there.
No,
sorry,
it was irrelevant, to be honest. It really was. And like obviously you have to pay to go there, do you, or make donations?
Yeah, and this is where, look, I had a great time, really, but it's a 2.5 mile walk through the place, and I know that because I got told that, because we got there and like we'd have to drive the whole way. I went to the bathroom, I came out, I come up to the gate, somebody's buying tickets, so I go to sort of buy a ticket, and the one I'm trying to buy a ticket off is like, so 2 of the people we were with were ahead of me. And I'm next kind of in line, and I'm talking to the next person and going, what type of ticket do you want? And I'm like, I guess whatever they just got, because like, I'm with them. And this woman went, well, I don't know what they just got. And I'm like, okay, but like, we are within 5 feet of each other, and the person that just sold them the ticket is sitting 2 feet to the right of you, and he can hear me, and he's looking at me. Can we work this out amongst ourselves as
to what's going on?
Communicative human beings? I need whatever they had.
Client confidentiality, pal. Couldn't tell you.
And even then, ultimately, I turned to my friends. I was like, "What was it you got?" "Oh, this." "Okay." I said, "I guess it's that." And then she went, "Are you sure you want that? Because you have to be in section 3 by 4 o'clock, because otherwise you won't get through the whole exhibit." I'm like, we knew this because the website says last admission is 3 o'clock, and we're here at 2:30. And she says that, and I said, are you sure? And I went, yeah, absolutely. And she goes to sell me a ticket, but then Chris came up behind me and went, I've already bought the tickets. Which, again, he got off of her. And it's like, why are you... Okay. So it was just this weird little encounter. And then as we go in the door, 15 feet from that desk, the guy goes, you have to be in section 3 by 4 o'clock, right? I was like, okay, yeah, okay. And we got a little bit further down, and somebody was like, you'd want to keep moving. And then about 15 minutes in, we realized there was a guy behind us with a trash bag, little mustachy guy in a little hoodie, and he was just like leaning on things about 10 feet behind us. And as we'd move forward, he'd keep moving forward.
You were holding him up.
And at a certain point we went, are we the last group through? And he went, yep.
Oh.
I was like, okay. And so now this guy is 10 feet behind us as we progress through. Now we're not being rushed. We're taking our time and looking at the thing, but this guy is like hovering every step of the way. And we wanted to like, would you just fuck off? Like we're not hesitating. We're not elderly or infirm. We understand it's 2.5 miles. It's not. It's 2.5 miles long. It's less than that to get to the section you want us in by 4 o'clock. It's barely 3 o'clock. We got in a half hour before you said last admittance. Like, we have arrived within all of these parameters. Why are we getting this little fucking bum's rush kind of thing? And then at a certain point, because we're just walking at a regular pace, we overtook someone that had been in there well before us. And then we just never saw the fucker again. Because, again, we're just moving. And he has to worry about other people. So I don't know. Maybe it's coming from the fact that they do have to make sure people drive through it. But like we were not the ones he needed to worry about. And it just made it kind of fucking uncomfortable for the first chunk of it. That we had just this hovering presence of like, quicker, get through this. But once we sort of cleared ourselves of that guy, we could just enjoy the fact that this place was weird. I mean, how many life-sized papier-mâché elephants do you need?
5.
I can tell you, it's more than 4.
I would say 5, yeah.
Yeah, that's 5.
It is 5.
Yeah,
I would say 5.
actually, I'd say he had 6 because he had a scenario where there were 3 with 2 on the top and 1 on the top, and then there was a separate
That's
exhibit
excessive,
which
too
was
many
a medieval war with an elephant fighting.
It's 2.
I'm glad we're talking about the elephant in the room.
Yeah. Oh.
Yep, we got it. And I guess next week I'll be able to talk about Beau is Afraid.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna look at that.
And the name of the episode will be Aiden is Afraid.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Right this after you have an easy job. But well, it's great to have that, like to see that you're having, or to hear you having a great time. But C2E2, I know you've covered it on the podcast and stuff, but I just want to ask: did you see Daniel Warren Johnson?
I don't. I walked every line of Artist's Alley. I did not see Daniel Warren Johnson. Okay. I must have just breezed past it. There was an element of like, once it was a big name, I kind of blinkered myself because there was just,
I wouldn't be
there was going to be
go,
no
like,
point getting in a queue, and there was going to be no way I could afford anything I wanted on this table. Yeah. I wanted to buy loads of art, but I also was like in a in a very conservative mindset because I didn't have I don't know frames, and I don't have a lot of method to like keep stuff good, especially for shipping home. Fair. But I was really happy with the art that I bought, and I have it hung on the wall. I showed you it earlier. It looks beautiful, and I took a couple of names, so I'll buy more stuff when I come back. And there's a guy called Jeff Carlisle.
How are you,
Jeff? He's a concept artist and illustrator. And he had a lovely Sean Connery as Ramius from the Hunt for Red October thing that I might try and buy off him through his website or something. Who? Ramius, the captain in the Hunt for Red October.
His name in Highlander is Ramirez. Isn't it?
Well, I don't know if the Russian versus the Spanish are close.
But it sounds similar. I know it's Riminez or Riminez.
It is Ramirez. Yeah.
I think it's Ramirez in Highlander.
Remus. I think it's like the wolf. Like Romulus and Remus.
Yes. Romulus and Remus.
I think it's close to that, but I could be wrong. So he did this image right after Connery passed.
Okay. I didn't realize he had died, or I had forgotten.
You'd forgotten. Yeah, it happened just before my dad died, actually.
Right. Yeah.
It's in the summer there, I think. And then I went to see that Bond movie that year as well, where Bond died, and then my dad died, and it was like his 2 favorite things. Well, 2 of his
Bond
favorite
died.
Things. Connery and Bond. Oh, spoilers for No Time to Die.
Does he really die?
Yeah, they just blew him up.
So Bond, James Bond, is dead.
Daniel Craig's James Bond movies are a 4-film arc that ends with his death. So the question is, it's still up in the air as to how they're proceeding with more Bond. Is it going to be like, because they never really address what happens in 20 films worth of James Bond. Are these reboots? Are these the same character? How does one thing connect from the other? But at least Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, Spectre,
Skyfall,
No Time to Die, Skyfall. Oh, it's 5 of them. Those 5 films, there's an arc.
Okay.
And it all sort of ties to Ava Green as well. like his relationship with her.
You don't see her in much things anymore, really.
And he has a kid.
Oh, geez, what? Like, kind of. You gave me one spoiler.
Fucking too late, buddy.
That movie's not long out.
It really wasn't
Not
though.
out long enough. Yeah,
It really wasn't.
Not out long enough.
He could have watched
Yeah.
it. Especially that he managed to shield himself from so much of it this far. And he just
To
gave
be
it
honest,
all up.
the internet has never spoiled anything on
wild.
me. It's only ever been people and mostly this podcast.
Mostly Aiden.
Mostly Aiden.
But as Brian will forever say, you know, spoilers don't ruin anything.
It depends on your mental configuration.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I'll
Kevin's mentally configured.
differently. To where now that I know Bond will die, I would never possibly enjoy the movie.
Yeah. Well,
I love Skyfall.
you should. It's very good. It's a very good film.
But not anymore, is it?
If the
I
sky
was going to watch it, but no, he's not going to.
and crumbles, you say-
I can't remember. Are we getting a Ana de Armas Bond spin-off and a John Wick spin-off, or just the John
Oh,
Wick?
I want the Bond. No, I wouldn't. Let me rephrase. Let me walk that back. That character was so much fun. I want that Bond spin-off. Giving that character any more backstory will just be crap. And
Misogynistic, but okay.
Who's
no,
that?
it's not misogynistic. It's you got to watch the
Oh,
film.
fuck
Kevin.
you.
You got to watch the film. Like you don't want spoilers. Okay, well I've given you 2. Do you want a third where I tell you about possibly the most fun thing in the movie?
You don't have to spoil it. You can just give him some context.
It's one of the most fun things in the movie, and it features Ana de Armas, and you only see her for a few minutes, and she should get her own spin-off. Except I just think I think the more we learn about characters, the less interesting they are. So it's better sometimes to just have this magical moment. This is my approach to relationships as well.
This is writing relationships.
The more I learn about
Let's
you,
not have
the less
fleshed
interesting you are.
out three-dimensional people. I'm not interested.
So how did we end? Bond dies. Verbal is Kaiser Sose. Rosebud is a sled.
Some of those spoilers I didn't understand. I've seen Usual Suspects. That's fine. I'm going to ignore the rest.
The only other one is Rosebud is a sled. Do you not get that one? Oh, all right. On a side note, watch Citizen Kane.
Oh no, God, that was made before I was alive.
What a dickhead.
No.
Hold on. The fucking statute of limitations on Citizen Kane has to be up.
Doesn't matter. He didn't know. The statute of limitations is that if you say something unknowing, then you're safe. But if somebody tells you, "Oh, I haven't seen that," that's not an invitation to spoil it just because enough time has passed.
Yeah. I could spoil everything that happens in Barry up until this point to give you clarification of where the season is at. But what would that do?
I'm gonna go see Guardians before you, just so I can spoil it. I had no intention of seeing it, and now I'm gonna go see it just so I can.
Brian, I appreciate you exacting revenge for me because that's why I know. You
I don't
fucking
even
love
know
me.
what a
It's only for
spoiler
Kevin,
as
yeah.
Guardians
That's the only
would
thing,
be.
which is crazy.
Did anyone go see Mario?
Drax dies.
I do love him, and it's reciprocated. And to me, that's important.
Does Drax die?
Drax dies.
They all die.
Yeah.
We know that because of what Batista said, but
He's not doing it anymore.
not wanting to do it anymore. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but we'll see.
right.
We'll see. He might not die. He could retire. Who knows? He could be retiring with a new wife and kid.
I think Drax and Star-Lord might be.
Oh,
That's
but
my
you
speculation.
speculate because you look at
Speculation.
fucking Reddit boards. So get out of it.
No. I wouldn't say it. I wouldn't say it if it was based on information that I've gathered. This is just me purely, just the kind of vibe I'm getting from
Guessing.
the direction of what Marvel's doing and where it's going. I get the impression Pratt is out. It's at the point now with Pratt where even though he's not very popular, his films are making a ton of money. And I
Is
don't
he not
think
very popular, or is he like? Is it not very popular?
He's
amongst,
not-
like.
he's just been.
A-
He's not. He's really
But
not.
he's popular in America, surely.
He's not popular.
Yeah, I think
Mario's killing
I
it.
think there's film nerds that talk about the stuff they don't like, but there's the general population that don't give a shit. They're not hearing
Gen
about
pop.
it.
But what I'm saying though is what he's making is making money, but he himself is not enough of a draw, and yet at the same time they'd have to pay him a lot of money going forward, and I don't think on a balance sheet he's worth it, particularly for like Guardians or Mario will probably make more money than the next Guardians, possibly. Simply because it's the third movie and Marvel's on a bit of a down streak.
So I heard someone suggest. Actually, I didn't. Chris was saying to me that he read somewhere that Feige suggested that they are going to be approaching more established directors going forward, less up and coming directors, more established. Was that pop up on your radar at all, Brian?
No, all I heard is that they're going to slow down the amount of stuff they're making and try focus more on quality over quantity.
I hope so, because
they've said that.
Yeah, I've read that as well.
That wasn't. That's that's a quote from him that they feel that they've made maybe a lot in a short space of time, and they want to produce less and focus more on the content of it. Maybe now people have kind of taken that to mean that they're going to go with. But I don't think so, because who's coming up in Blade and stuff like that. You know?
Well, when you think about like that first generation of Marvel films, when it's like Favreau was, he might not have been like crazy A-list, but like the stuff he made was really solid. He knew what he was doing. He's an established guy. Yeah. He wasn't necessarily making like triple A.
He had a good reputation for practical effects.
Yeah,
because he did. Was it Zathura?
He had a kind of Zathura.
I think of Swingers,
an elf.
an elf.
He had this like Ron
so he's
Howard
good with character, good with
craftsman-like
comedy, good with practical
filmmaker.
Effects.
Yeah, and then you've got Kenneth Branagh. If you're trying to make a Shakespearean thing, like that guy's got history, he's got pedigree, he knows what he's making. That's great for Thor. You've got Joe Johnson for Captain America.
Special
that guy's been around forever. VFX, superheroes. You get to Whedon working with team dynamic characters or pieces like this, rather than like, oh, this person's done a couple of good episodes of TV, let's bump them up, which is what we got with Thor: The Dark World. And
even that did that originally have Patty Jenkins? It did, didn't it?
I'm not sure about that, but
I think it had, for a short period. It had Patty. I think it did.
Okay.
I think it did. Yeah.
Well, I think part of what.
But anyway,
I think part of what set them up was like investing in high quality talent, not necessarily names specifically, but people that are good craftsmen and established, as opposed to like, hey, let's give people a shot, which leads to sort of ropier. Oh, it was a nice first attempt.
I don't think that's been the problem though, because everybody that they've given a shot has had a level of, like, there's the kind of public hype that we hear about, that we see and read, but then there's just, within the industry itself, people know this guy's great, this person's great, I worked with them on such a thing. Was it Brie Larson had worked with Cretin on something, possibly? Like, even though, like, to us, they might be taking a chance, but I think from their background, they know that they're quite capable.
But, like, I'm trying to
I don't think
who
it's
directed... Let's see. The Spider-Man movies are all directed by the same guy, right? Mark Webb? No, not Mark Webb. Mark Webb?
John Watts.
Sorry, Mark Webb was doing the Amazing Spider-Man ones, or Sony that time. John Watts. So he's just done a solid job straight through. Doctor Strange was Sam Raimi. Oof, that's actually not a great.
No, before he had done. I'm blanking on his name at the moment, but he did the Ethan Hawke horror film. Was it Insidious or Sinister, or they all have very similar names?
Yeah,
Derrickson. With Ethan Hawke, Scott Derrickson.
Vicious.
But I think the MCU, I think that's probably one of their only moves they have left in order to kind of pick things up and save themselves, is by giving more established directors and people a shot. I have seen the back.
I think they just need to slow down.
Slow down for
and
sure.
Not focus on
focus on quality over quantity.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say,
same with Marvel.
MCU though.
or the Star Wars,
the Marvels trailer. Like it didn't instill me with a bunch of confidence. I really like Brie Larson. I like Rambo. What's her Maria Rambo, isn't it? Monica Rambo. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like the characters, but like
Kamala
it doesn't like basically fill me with a load of confidence. However, I will go into it with the same open mind that I would any of the Marvel movies. You know, like kind of Ant-Man didn't instill me with a bunch of confidence either. The third one, right? But the stuff that's going online is fucking shit. People are at this stage. It's blatantly nothing to do with comic books anymore. It's nothing to do with Marvel or films or anything. It's just people. It's just men insecure that for a second there could be a girl, you know, enamored, inspired, or influenced by a strong female superhero role model. It makes them so bloody insecure. It's mental. That's where it stems from. That's what it is. It's just, it's gross, gross. I'm so fed up of it. You know, I'm gonna go to the Marvels. Yeah. I'm gonna love every fucking sec of it just to spite these fuckers. You know, it's good. That's my favorite Marvel movie before I've seen it. It's just shit.
I spotted the sequence you were talking about, Brian, in the trailer. I'm trying to be vague. I don't know if we talked about that on the podcast. Did we talk about that on the podcast?
I think we did.
Does it kind of a spoiler if I say it?
No, I don't think so. Not major. No.
I'm trying to be better. Do you want to say it? Do you want to describe it?
Spoiler warning.
The musical number.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a bit in the trailer where, like, once you said it to me, it's like, oh right, that's a dance.
Okay,
number.
fair. That's all you got to say. That's fine. I'm okay with that.
That's a big musical sequence.
They're going to do Rogers' music anyways.
That's actually happening in Disneyland. I'm kind of like,
I'd love to go something like that. We go crack. I like a good musical.
Yeah, I'm curious. Like, I know that it's actually, see, that's the thing. It works in Disneyland as an attraction because it's maybe 7 minutes.
Yes, fair.
So do they just loop it every 20 minutes?
Yeah, they're doing. I think they're going to be doing
bring
like
the audience in, do the
songs.
things, strip them out, move them in. It'd be weird. Very weird. All right.
I'm gonna go play the Street Fighter 6 demo.
Brian,
and I will report
Aiden.
back next week, and we can.
It's great to be back.
It's
great to be back. I'm happy to be back. Brian, you've been great, Aiden. You've talked about your mum too much, and I've had a good time.
Aiden, it's early over there. What's your plan for the rest of the afternoon, evening?
So there's a open mic I could go to, or there's a show someone invited me to.
I'm gonna play a Street Fighter demo. Kev's gonna walk dog. Aiden has 2 plans, and then I'm gonna give Marla some chimkin and maybe a walk. She's getting kind of antsy too. Tune in next week to see what Kev thinks of Florida Man.
It was Earth all along.